All right, so this is the beginning unit, the beginning lesson over our new unit, special angle pairs. So today we will be looking at different types of angles. So our unit is called special angle pairs. Today's lesson is called types of angles. Our I can statements. Today I will identify vertical, complementary, and supplementary angle relationships. So I can use these relationships to find missing angle measures. I'll know I have it when I can write and solve equations to find missing angle measures. And this addresses the 7th grade standard 7.G.B.5. Use facts about supplementary, complementary, vertical, and adjacent angles in a multi-step problem to write and solve simple equations for an unknown angle in a figure. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is just the three different types of angles that we focus on in this unit. And that is vertical, complementary, and supplementary. And I've got some tricks to help you remember which ones are which. So the first thing we're going to look at is vertical angles. And vertical angles are opposite, congruent angles formed where two lines cross, or when two lines cross. So let's see what that means. So when we have two lines and they cross, we'll pretend like that one's straight. What we get is vertical angles. These two opposite angles are congruent or equal. Congruent means equal. So if we named this one angle 1 and this one angle 2, we would say that angle 1 equals angle 2. Now we also know that angle 3 and angle 4 are also congruent to one another. Okay? So 1 and 2 are congruent and 3 and 4 are congruent. And the way we remember what vertical angles look like is that they make a V. If you look right here, vertical angles, they make these V's that meet each other when the two lines cross. And that's how we remember vertical angles. They make a V. All right, the second type of angle we're going to look at is called complementary angles. And this is a pair of angles that have a sum of 90 degrees. Now, what else do you know about a 90-degree angle? Hopefully you know that that is a right angle, okay? So we look at that when we have a right angle, and again, we're going to pretend like I'm a great line drawer. So we have a 90-degree angle, and when we have it split into two angles, angle 1, angle 2, what we know is that the measure of these two angles, angle 1 plus angle 2, equals 90 degrees. And complementary, the ones that students often get confused are complementary and supplementary. Which one's the 90 degree and which one's not? Well, the 90 degree is the complementary, and we can remember that it makes a corner. C-O-R-N-E-R. All right, so the C, corner, complementary. So that's just a trick to remember that the complementary is the 90 degree. It makes this corner right here. Okay? We also need to talk about supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are a pair of angles that have a sum of 180 degrees. Okay? All right. Now, 180, 90 degrees is a right angle. So if we brought this down here, we would say that another 90 degrees would give me a straight line. And that's what a 180 degree angle is. We call it a straight angle or a straight line. So remember, we're pretending this is a straight line. Okay, so if I was to take a protractor and measure from this side and measure this angle all the way over here to this side, see, there's no bend in it, but it's still an angle, and we call that a straight angle because from one side to the other would give me 180 degrees. Now, if we were to split this into two angles, you see how the measure of this angle plus the measure of this angle gives me that whole 180 degrees. So if we called this angle 3 and angle 4, we could say that angle 3 plus angle 4 equals 180 degrees. And the way we remember supplementary angles, the one that starts with an S, supplementary, is it makes a straight line. So S, straight line, supplementary. Corner, complementary. Vertical makes a V. Okay? So that's how you can keep them straight, which ones are which. So when you get over here, you're going to have to tell three things. You're going to tell the type of angle. Well, that's this right here. What is this? What is its title? What type of angle is it? What you know about it. You're going to get that from here. So is it congruent angles? Do they have a sum of 90 or do they have a sum of 180? What is it that you know? One of those three things. All right. The trick to remember, that's this over here. Does it make a V? Does it make a corner? Or does it make a straight line? All right, so go ahead and fill this in, pause the video, fill this in, and then come back and we'll talk about it. All right, so our first one, I see a straight line. They don't cross. I don't get that complete crossing right there. It's just got an angle, a straight line split into two angles. I've got an angle here and an angle here. So that straight line tells me that this is supplementary. What I know about a supplementary angle, well, I go over here. What I know about it is that those two angles, supplementary angles, have a sum of 180 degrees. And the trick to remembering that is that they make a straight line, S. Okay? So on to our second one. The type of angle, I see two lines crossing. I see these angles right here that are opposite. So that tells me, and I see that these make that V. So these are vertical angles. And what I know about vertical angles, I go up here to vertical angles. I know that they are congruent. And the trick to remember it is they make a V. All right, so our last one, look here, look at this little 90-degree thing. So that tells me that this is a 90-degree angle or a right angle. So it makes a corner. So this is my complementary angle. And what I know about those is that they have a sum of 90 degrees. Look at that, sum of 90. And the trick to remember, it makes a corner. See, makes a corner. All right, so this was just the first lesson of our unit, just to kind of introduce you to vertical, complementary, and supplementary angles. So make sure that you fold this, get it glued down into your notebook, and get ready for class.